Ini Prof Anis Bukan. Is it Prof Anis?
Assalamualaikum Prof Ratna. Sorry,
that was you, right? This is you.
Yeah.
Okay, this is you. Yeah.
I'm also putting on Facebook, so I will give the link as well. So those who don't join, because it will record automatically. So then we don't have the issue of recording.
Okay. Great to know that you have all this technical ability and prowess that I don't have.
So because the other talk, someone asked for the. I'm also putting on Facebook, so I will give the link as well. So those who don't join, because it will record automatically. So then we don't have the issue of recording.
Okay. Great to know that. Okay. I was here at 9:50, 9:45, thinking that it started at 10. So extra early lah. They're saying, how come nobody's admitting me into this meeting? Oh, it's recorded.
Yes. Sister Sabrina, do you know how many people registered for the program?
Prof Adil will be joining too.
Prof, I have not yet checked the registration form.
Oh, okay.
But Prof Adil will be joining, I think, also.
Yes. Oh. Assalamualaikum Dr. Nabila and Dr. Shirwan. Thank you for coming. Just waiting for Prof. Mamun.
Okay.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, Dr. Nabila and Dr. Shirwan.
Thank you, Prof. Ratna,
Thank you,
for inviting.
Prof.
I only see an N,
Sorry?
and I only see N, the letter N, and ini apa ni? Muka ni
Yeah,
siapa?
I'm on
I
two
see it now.
now. Yeah,
I see it now.
because, oh, okay.
Sekarang tak ada pula.
Okay. Right. Thank you, RMC, for the invitation.
Thank you for joining us.
How's everyone? How's work from home coping out?
Good, actually, because it gives us a little bit more time and, than normal. Although we Zoom a lot as well. So it can be about the same thing, but at least for me, it saves 2 hours of commuting time. So that's
Okay, Assalamualaikum everyone. I see Prof. Mamun is already here. Just before we start, can I request everyone to mute your mic so that we can easily hear Prof. Mamun's talk and to avoid any echoes. Okay, and do you want me to project your slides or you want to project your own slides? Can't hear you, Prof. Mamun. You are on mute. I unmute you.
Okay. All right. So can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Do you want me to project your slides or you want to do it on your own?
If you project, then every, isn't it?
It's the same. I think anybody can share screen, but I can share screen.
Then I can control, is it? Can I click?
Huh? Yeah, you can control if you want.
Okay. All right.
Okay, Prof. Mamun?
Yes, Prof. Should I start or you have some introduction?
Yeah, maybe we can just, before you start, I just would like to welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, we have 31 participants. Thank you everyone for coming. So today we are happy to have here today 3 speakers, Prof. Abdullah Mamun from Kuliah of Engineering, Dr. Shirwan from INHAT, and Dr. Nabila from Kuliah of Engineering, and they will be talking on the ISDB Transform Fund and some tips and tricks on how to apply for the fund. Okay, so I think not to waste anybody's time, I can give the floor to Prof. Mamun. So Prof. Mamun, you're sharing, right? You're going to share the slides, right?
Yeah, inshallah.
Yeah, you just press share screen and okay. All right. So everybody else, if you can mute your mic, that would be great. Okay, thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I think someone's sounds are coming to the meeting. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Thank you, Prof. Anis and also RMC for inviting us in this important discussion for us to share our experience and some tips for the other applicants to be successful in receiving this Transform grant from ISDB, Islamic Development Bank. So I have a few slides. Let me go to the slides directly. Can everybody see the slide?
Yes,
Prof.
I can
Anis,
see your slide.
Okay. So a little background about this grant from Islamic Development Bank, which is started in 2018. They started with a seed fund of 500 million US dollar, which is quite big. I think they have this fund, and from there they generate profit, and from profit they try to provide support. Excuse me, someone is talking. All right, so they have a big amount of fund, and if I'm not mistaken, ISDB is only one bank in the world who are actually providing this kind of research grants or supporting the sustainability projects various levels. So usually the grant is annual event, and it is open to all citizens of the world. It is not only for Muslims or for any nations. It is open to all citizens of the world. So this is one of the good things of this grant. Anybody can apply. Although anybody can apply, but generally the bank targeting to help the developing countries and society or nations which are actually not developed yet. Their main objective to support them. Of course, if there is any technology, any innovation which can help the humanity, then there is no objection to support them. Usually, this grant invests in early stage innovation, innovative ideas, okay, and also scaling of innovations by providing seed money for either individual innovators or entrepreneurs, even can be a group of people, startups, SMEs, and also institutions. Okay. Of course, it is highly competitive because open to the whole world, but based on our experience, it is worth applying for. And inshallah, that is the purpose of this RMC, to motivate and also to encourage all our colleagues to apply for this grant, inshallah. Since the inception of this grant, every year, Malaysian recipients are receiving funds. Every year, almost 4 or 3, applicants are successful in getting this fund. As we all know about the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN, although there are 17 goals set by the UN, United Nations, but Islamic Development Bank Transform Grant mainly targeting for 6 sustainable goals. Those are specifically number 2, which is zero hunger. Number 3, good health and well-being. Number 4, quality education. Number 6, clean water and sanitation. Number 7, affordable clean energy. And number 9 is the industry development. Industry innovation and structure, okay, number 9. So if you look at this, all are actually very essential for development. So their grants are mainly targeting on these 6 sustainable goals. This is the general objective. So when we are applying for ISDB grants, we should make sure that our proposal is tailored to these objectives. These sustainable goals, SDGs, sorry. Okay, but now we are in 2020 already, and the grant is already open since 1st April 2020. But as we know that we are going through a serious pandemic, which is COVID-19, the ISDB also targeted this year applications mainly focusing on solving issues related to Okay, dear participants, may I request you to kindly make sure that we don't accidentally, unmute our mics. Otherwise, there's echo and all the participants are unable to listen. Thank you very much. So due to the severeness of the COVID-19 pandemic, ISDB has decided to focus this year's application mainly on solving the issues related to COVID-19 pandemic. So you can go to the website, ISDB website, and you can detail guidelines about this year's application. I'll be highlighting the important things, but later on we can go for detail. Definitely, I cannot cover all the tips here. The deadline is about 1.5 months left, which is, only half month left, which is 1st June 2020. So I believe that all of us have experience in preparing research proposal. So if we just fine tune our proposal towards this towards the guidelines of Transform Grant, inshallah, we'll be able to successful. There's several levels of screening actually. After we apply, there will be, I think about 3 levels of screening. Initial screening, once we are successful, they will ask for more information. And again, another level of screening. After that, the final selection will be done. So if I'm not mistaken, there is always more than few thousands of applications. And out of those, they provide about 50 grants only. But again, I'm not saying these statistics to make you disappointed. Please feel free and with good intention and positive mind, apply. There's nothing to lose here, inshallah. We'll get experience out of our application. And also, as you know, there are also other, grant providers who are specifically providing quick fund to how to overcome the issues related to COVID-19 pandemic. So if your proposal is good, if you are not successful at this Transform Grant or Transform Fund, we can apply to other places. So actually there is nothing to lose if you have a good proposal. Today or tomorrow, somewhere inshallah will be successful. So as I have mentioned, this year's grant mainly focused on preparedness and response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The application of advanced technology, these are the 4 categories they are looking for. The application of advanced technologies, if you have any, concept or other things, you can just apply for the grant. Then innovative health. Many countries suffering from shortage of masks, PPE, and other essentials, where the frontliners are really exposed to very risky areas. They are working to save life by compromising their own life. So this is one of the areas where we can submit our proposal, how to improve the management system. And the supply management system, not only referring to the medical supply, it also refers to other essentials like food and other medications. The third category could be development of low-cost rapid test and screening methods, which is also very essential and key to control the pandemic. So we can also focus on these areas. Although most of the topics will be related to health related areas like medicine and others, but I believe engineering also can apply, even other management or social science also can apply how to solve the issues of this COVID pandemic, because the whole society is suffering out of this pandemic. So I think all departments, all disciplines can find their own innovative ideas to apply for grant, inshallah. And also capacity building interventions. So as I said, these are the 4 major areas highlighted in the Transform Fund website for this year's application. So before we apply, please go through the guidelines detail, and inshallah you can come up with a good proposal. Okay, but although the main target is about COVID-19 pandemic, but let us not forget to highlight the SDGs also, those 6 SDGs. So my recommendation, whenever we are writing, try to repeat those keywords that the website is looking for, the ISDB website is looking for. From the beginning, ISDB has this 4 category of grants. Number 1 is new ideas and proof of concept. If you have already done some initial work, and we can highlight that we need more grant to further proceed, then we can apply under this category. Okay. And just to share with you, our proposal was under this category. We did some work on the development of coagulant or water treatment. We already filed for patent, and our application is still pending. So that is one of the positive things. If we already filed for patent and you have some, previous results, publications, that will be a positive point for you to get the grant, inshallah. So the funding opportunity in this category is 50,000 to 100,000 US dollar. Okay, all these numbers are in US dollar. So individuals or group of people can apply for this kind of grant. Number 2 category is scaling up of innovative projects. Okay, this is a bigger capacity, mainly looking for equity participation and quasi-equity participation with some economic benefit and some other outcomes. The fund can be up to 300,000. Okay, and this is applicable to the registered legal entities. As you know, these days there are many issues related to money laundering and others. So ISDB is very serious about giving the grant to a legal entity, okay, who are reliable, who will not abuse this money for other purpose. So they are really concerned about that one. So when you write our application, we have to provide supporting documents to justify that we are actually under a legal entity. I think that will be in the second stage, not in the initial stage. So there are application form available. We can register online. Then you look into the item of the application form. Then we fill accordingly. No need to use too difficult English. Just write in simple English, so that whoever evaluate the application, they can understand. Number 3 is the commercialization of technology. They're really serious on this third category. If it is really potential to generate money or to benefit the people, especially the developing community, they are willing to fund up to $1 million US. So it's quite big amount of fund. And I have seen many people already successful in achieving this grant. Number 4 is the STI, capacity building, mainly science and technology, information technology, about the capacity building. I think Dr. Nabila has got this grant. So we have to come up with good ideas, innovative ideas, how the capacity of the community or the society of the country can be improved using this fund. So again, please remember there's all these 4 categories, particularly for this year, should be focused on COVID-19 pandemic item, okay? Now let me allow to share some general tips about proposals. As we are from the IIUM, and we have a specialty in this Islamic areas. If you all remember, we had some motto about our research with soul. Right? So inshallah, we should have the Islamic spirit in our application. So if you follow the first hadith of Bukhari, we should make good niyat, good intention. Not only niyat to fulfill our KPI or to have some benefits out of the project, not for promotion. We should mainly target to serve the humanity and also safeguard the nature. When you do any project, we should not forget about the impact on the nature. So these are my suggestions, my request, so that we can write a wholesome project proposal. Of course, in the project proposal, we should very clearly target to solve a local or global issue. Okay, so as this year's project is for pandemic COVID-19, definitely it's a local and global, it covers both. Anyway, highlight those things, those issues repeatedly in the proposal so that the evaluator can catch your intention. Again, it has to be related to the SDGs, 6 SDGs selected by ISDB. Okay, I'm sure they have the rubrics and forms, evaluation forms, where they will give points against this, their objectives. The project has to be affordable and sustainable. Sometimes we may have very theoretical things, but I think they're looking for practical solution from the ISDB. Of course, it has to be innovative, but practical, doable, not too much theoretical or not too much, what do you call it, hypothetical. ISDB look for projects which are replicable. If we do any project in Malaysia, they expect that this can be applied to other part of the world, so that it brings more benefit to the world, to the humanity, and also scalable. If we do a small scale project, it can be easily upgradable. These are highlighted in the guidelines. So it is good idea to use the keywords which are mentioned in the guidelines. They also expect that the product or the system or process is patentable, okay, with commercial values. But of course, like, you know, some projects may not be patentable, but at least it should give some, it should have some commercial values, okay. And the specific tip for the proposal is that as the grant is provided by Islamic Development Bank, it will be good to highlight how the Ummah will be benefited from our proposal. Okay, just highlight it. So it will carry additional value when they assess your proposal. So now I'd like to share some tips about the proposal itself. Just now I have mentioned about general things, but now about the proposal. Let us prepare or select a title which is clear and informative, but concise. Sometimes people write very long title. So long title actually not recommended. It should be short, but clear and informative, covering the whole objective of the project. It is good to have a you know, convincing executive summary covering the issue, the problem statement, then the brief methodology, then after that expected results, and some concluding remarks. Also, it is good to have a clear problem statement, what actually we are going to solve, especially for this COVID-19 pandemic situation. We have to identify what specific problem we are planning to solve. And also we should have specific and measurable objectives. This is very important. Once we have the clear objectives, the evaluator can understand what actually we are going to solve. And those should be measurable. And before that, we can justify the background and rationale of the project by giving you know, strong reason. Generally, for research project, we expect literature review, but there's no harm if you have a brief but good literature review highlighting the recent development in the area that you're applying for the fund. But if it's commercial nature of project, I think this is not so important. But of course, you can compare the present situation with regards to the you know, local market. It is also good to highlight the gap either in the research or in the commodity. What is needed in the market? Okay, to highlight that one, and then we can focus on our proposal. The method should be scientifically sound so that it's achievable, it's replicable, and people can understand easily. Especially for COVID-19 pandemic proposal, I think biosafety and ethical considerations are very important. How the project or the research can affect the nature, the other human being, and also the other living beings all together. Because the virus can spread through improper methods of research. So we have to highlight those things. We have to clearly mention how the biosafety and ethical things will be considered, how the animal being may not be abused through your research. So I think it is very important to highlight this one. And also, impact on the society, how the project will be benefiting the society, or there will be high impact in the society. Last, but not least, that we must have a realistic budget. Okay, do some practical calculation, and then make the budget practical, so that the evaluator has confidence in your proposal. And of course, we need a schedule which should be timely and achievable schedule, not too short, not too long. Okay. Normally, their grants typical range is 2 to 3 years. So now I'd like to share some additional tips. Number one is, wherever we apply our grant, let us follow the guidelines, read the guidelines, and highlight what actually they are looking for. So once we prepare our proposal according to the guidelines, it will be easy for the evaluator to assess and give good gradings. And again, I have mentioned previously, use the keywords from the guidelines. Make the, come up with a novel idea, as novel as possible, so that, you have less competitor on the same area. Again, it should be innovative, of course, economical, sustainable, and easy to apply, okay? Easy to apply after we finish our project or after we conduct our research. It should be easy to apply to all over the country and world. And it should have high impact. These are very basic, but sometimes we forget. When we write, we forget actually. So it is very recommended that we should go through again and again so that we can improve our proposal for easy understanding. It is good to have a strong and balanced team. For the ISDB, initially they don't ask for the team, but later on you can highlight. There is no harm to provide additional information to support your application, although they don't ask for. But try to give additional information so that they have confidence in the team and in the proposal. And not to forget vetting the proposal. Before we submit, we should vet it, let it pass to another experienced researcher who can go through and give some comment, like what the RMC does for every research grant. Okay, RMC make arrangement for the vetting, then only after corrections we submit. That is a good practice. Okay, and of course, lastly, don't forget to make dua. Although based on our experience, we found that we write good proposals, but many times we are rejected. From my experience, I think quality of the proposal and also luck is almost 50-50. Okay, both are important. So we make dua, but when we make dua, we dua without expectation, so that if there is negative results, we don't get disappointed. Okay, we still can proceed with other grants. So that's all from my side. Thank you and wish you good luck.
Thank you so much, Prof. Mamun, for the very good sharing. So the session will go through like this. We will have all the three speakers speak one by one. So at the end of the session, after everyone has finished, we will have the questions and answer session. So I would like to request Prof. Mamun if you can wait until the session ends. So now we can have Dr. Shirwan next. He will be also talking about his proposal. So Dr. Shirwan, would you like me to share the screen, or you want to do it on your own?
It's okay, Prof. Let me share my own PowerPoint.
All right. Thank you so much. Please go ahead, Dr. Shirwan.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
I think you're breaking up a bit. Can everyone else hear him or not?
Thank you, RMC, for inviting us. Okay, so yeah, actually, I'm at my hometown, which is at Rembau. The line is not so good, so I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes, but a little. Sometimes it is breaking up.
It does
But
break
okay.
up. Yeah.
Actually, a better trick is
Okay.
actually a better trick is for RMC to display the slides, but Doctor speak from Rambau. Just use the voice.
Okay. All right. Then I will share the slides. Okay, Dr. Shirwan, just let me know when you want to.
So let me continue the PowerPoint. Okay. Okay. So application.
Dr. Sherwan, we cannot hear you. Maybe let me share my screen. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you can go ahead now. I think might be better this way.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So on 2019, I submit a proposal to ISDB, and then can we go to the next slide? Okay, so at the first place, if you want to apply for this grant, you have to register your account and log in via this link, isdb-engage.org/en, and then from here, you can go to the call for innovation. Yeah, from there, you need to fill in the information. So as Prof. Mahmood already informed you, okay, to the next slide, Prof. Okay, the focus for the ISDB is on the 6 SDG, which is the zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education. Okay, next. Okay, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, and also industry, innovation, and infrastructure. But remember, for this year, 2020, there are some changes on the requirement where they focus on the COVID-19. Okay, so next slide. Okay, so among the applications, there are 4 categories that you can apply. So in my case, I apply on the category 1, which is investment type of new ideas with proof concept. Okay, so the funding opportunity range from 50,000 to 100,000 USD. Okay, so most of scientists and researchers will apply to this category. Okay, in this category as well, it's good if you have some published result, okay, or some pattern to to support your application. Okay, so for category 2, from my experience last year, uh, the investment type focus on startup company. For category 3, there are 4 this company which is already established, and for the category 4, this is what Dr. Nabila has received. It's more on capacity building. It's either you want to develop human capacity building or any infrastructure. Okay, you can go to this category 4. Okay, can we go to the next slide? Okay, so if you see here, there are 4 categories from new ideas with proof of concept, scaling up, commercialization of technology, SDI capacity building. So each of these category, you need to fulfill detailed criteria. The detailed criteria is on the left side, which is the innovativeness until the potential impact. The one that I think the information, the detailed criteria you need to fulfill according to your category that you apply. Okay, so the issue is sometimes researchers, they don't know how to fill in the information, the detailed criteria that they require, the innovativeness, how they want to explain about their research innovativeness. However, the good thing with ISDB, okay, can we go to the next slide, Prof? Okay, next slide. Okay, okay. The good thing about the ISDB on the application, in order for you to fill in the detailed criteria, they already inform you in the ISDB guideline. For example, for the detailed criteria of innovativeness, how you want to explain in your proposal, they already highlighting what are the answer that you should give to them. Okay, so you can see here for innovativeness, they already highlight there. Please describe clearly your idea and the challenge. Okay, so this is how actually the guideline given by SDB is already clear for the researcher and for the applicants. So don't feel worried how to answer this one. It's already there in the detailed guideline. Just answer according to their question there. Okay, can we go to the next slide? Okay, the next thing you need to fill in is fill in the high level budget table. Okay, so in this table that you see here is the template given by the ISDB. Okay, can we go to the next slide? Okay, my recommendation, in order for you to fill in this high level budget, you can refer to your FRGS budget form. The way that Malaysian, our KPT is doing is, and RMC is doing is very good, which is those form that we fill in for the FRGS budget is enough to fill in this high level budget. I don't change anything. All those that previously I submit for FRGS, if it is rejected, so I just improve the proposal and then fill in the information the same as that I fill in in the FRGS budget form. So you don't have to worry. You just can fill in the same thing in this ISDB budget table. Okay. Next slide. Okay, this is an example. Yeah, this is the example of the high level budget that I sent to ISDB. Okay, can you, if you see at the bottom, I fill in the total budget that I request and and I propose the date for the disbursement, okay, and then the monitoring and evaluation, so that the ISDB knows that you are really clear about your project. Yeah, so this is my tips for the applicants. And if you go to the right side, there are the details. Yeah, how much that I need for each of these activity. Okay, can we go to the next slide? Okay, okay. I'm sorry, this one is for the profile of submission. I just want to show to you actually how the website looks like. But I think if I need to log in with my password. Okay. But never mind, you just can go to this link, ISDB Engage link, register, and you can see how it looks like. Okay, so after you submit your proposal, okay, this is what happened to your proposal, the evaluation that comes after the submission. Okay, for the ISDB application on 2019. You can see that you have to submit via this website, the Engage website, and then your proposal will be, if you get through, okay, there is a second stage submission where you need to submit ISDB know your customer form. This is the form that you need to explain or to inform the ISDB whether your entity is legal or whether you apply as individual. You have to inform them your passport. You have to attach your passport. You have to attach your maybe identification card. Okay, and then you submit for the second stage. And if you get through, there is another 2 stages of ISDB evaluation internally, and then the winners will receive notification. So if you see the picture on the left, for 2019 ISDB application submitted to them was 5,055 applicants, and second stage 1,417. Yeah. And then the last one for ISDB application, 34 winners get through. Okay. So for these 34 winners, you will be invited to the host country for ISDB Transformers event. So last year, we were invited to Senegal. For this year, if they don't change the host country, you will get through, and then you will be invited to Kazakhstan. Okay. So after you get the grant, you need to the ISDB and you will draft the contract. You sign the contract, and then after that you will receive the disbursement. So in my case, currently I just complete the signing the contract and submit to the ISDB. For the money, I didn't receive yet. Okay, because we need to get the completion of the contract signing. Can we go to the next slide? Okay, so this is my I call it tips and tricks that I will share. I suggest to all the applicants to follow the ISDB engage and ISDB group Twitters, where this Twitter will inform you what are those activities the ISDB is being dealing. Most of them they are having some meeting with UN or some activities related to SDG activities. Okay, and then remember that your proposal should solve the problem in least developed members countries. Okay, if you want to know about the least developed member countries, you can see the guideline. Okay, but you have to make sure as well your it's also suggested that you can make it generic so that the problem can be solved in Malaysia as well. Okay, the third tips, I suggest you if you can use your FRGS information, okay, to fill in the high level budget table. Okay, and the last but not least, focus on SDG. Okay, so you can focus on these 2, 3 SDG 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 9. Okay, last slide. Okay, for the last slide, last but not least, I would like to encourage everyone, please find time to submit your proposal. It's just the matter of we find a time for us to prepare the proposal and submit the proposal. Okay, thank you from me. I'm sorry again if because of the connection of the internet is not quite good in my hometown. So I give back the hosting to the RMC.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Irwan, for very informative and very concise sharing. So later we can have a chance to ask any questions that you have to Dr. Shirwan. So we will wait until the end of the session for any questions. Okay, now I would like to pass over the session to Dr. Nabila. Dr. Nabila got the grant also last year together with Dr. Shirwan, and it's on capacity building. So you would like, I will stop sharing so that you can share your slides, Dr. Nabila. So
Okay,
the floor
thank
is
you.
yours.
Right, thank you. Or maybe you can help share the slides that I send with you.
Okay.
Oh, okay. It's okay.
Okay.
Right. I need to. Right. Okay. Can you see the slides?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So thank you very much, Prof. Anis. Okay. So as been mentioned, so my category is under the category 4, which is the capacity building in technology and innovation. And my proposal title is IIUM Integrated Design Project Framework for SDG Innovation. So this proposal is actually a work by me and my colleague, Dr. Mimi Aminah. Okay, but because when you fill in the ISDB proposal, you can only send in one name. So it's only my name that appears in ISDB grant. Okay. So this proposal, it was awarded in last year, 2019. And the challenges that my proposal is addressing is in closing the innovation gap between the academia and industry, and the challenges in lack in human capacity or talent to drive the technology towards commercialization. Okay, and the value proposition of our proposal is this proposal is actually an education framework that is aims to build the right kind of innovation driver capacities that can be achieved through a proper alignment of education structure that requires synergistic involvements from the identified industries, entrepreneurs, relevant policymakers, students, and well-trained faculty members. So actually, this is my third time writing this proposal. So I also submitted back in 2018, but it was not successful. So I tried again in 2019. So Alhamdulillah, it was selected as one of the winners. Okay. So before I go into details on the how to basically how I fill in the proposal for this category 4. Right. So okay, basically for this, Engage is a platform by ISDB. So under this Engage platform, they offer several grants, and Transform Fund is one of the offered grants. So the one that we are applying is this Transform Fund. So what this fund is looking for, they are looking for ideas that through this funding can be translated into real development solutions. So they are not really interested to know on the knowledge contribution behind it, but they also wants to see that this new knowledge can be translated into the real solutions. So they want to see how that can be achieved. Okay, secondly, they are looking for ideas that address development challenges that can drive economic and social progress in the developing world. So this grant is mainly looking for the application of the ideas. And the third one is the idea, they are looking for ideas that empower the communities and youth in particular to realize their full potential. So in short, there are two key highlights that you have to mention in your proposal. You have to show that your proposal is a feasible application that solves real problem and its impact to society. And you have to be able to show the sustainability of the project beyond grant period. So they don't want to treat this grant as kind of like just a one-off project. They want to see in your proposal, how do you plan to continue the project beyond the grant period? And as has been mentioned by Prof. Abdullah and also Dr. Shirwan, so this ISDB Transform Fund, they are focusing on this 6 SDG. So the zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, and industry innovation and infrastructure. So my proposal is addressing on the quality education. Okay, so for this year, unlike in the previous year, the application area in previous year, the application area is quite wide, so they don't have a really focused application area. But for this year, they are only focusing on enhancing member countries' preparedness and response to COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, so they have listed the 4 key areas that they are looking for this year application. So the first one is on the application of advanced technology. So basically they are looking into application of IoT, big data, blockchain, and artificial intelligence to track and monitor the spread of infectious diseases. Okay, the second one is on the innovative health supply chain management system. So they are looking for perhaps a powerful search engine of medical supplies, new biosafety laboratory level 3, design, technology, and biocontainment. So the third application they are looking for is on the development of the low-cost rapid tests and screening methods. So for example, like point of care, rapid tests, molecular tests, and diagnostic test quality for early detection, diagnostic treatment, and prevention solutions, including vaccine production for COVID-19 and future emerging highly infectious diseases. And in terms of the capacity building interventions, they are also specify it. So the only area that they are looking for is capacity building in improving operational capacities of healthcare providers in the field epidemiology and infection control management of highly pathogenic cases, such as training, deployment of software applications, awareness campaigns, service delivery, or research centers. So yeah, so for this year, it's really focused on the COVID-19. Okay, and as Dr. Shiran mentioned, there are 4 categories for application. So yeah, for this year, they also stick to these 4 categories. So the first one is proof of concept. So basically, if you already have one successful prototype or proof of concept, so let's say you have it at the lab scale and you want to test it in the real application. So you can apply the grant under this category, which is the proof of concept. So the grant awarded is between 50,000 US dollar to 100,000 US dollar. So okay, that's under the category 1. Category 2 is the startup. So basically you already have a working proof of concept and you already have some traction on the real application. So, and also you already started a small startup company. And the aim for this grant application is to to piloted a project that involves innovative technologies and are in need for additional funding to replicate or scale up the project. So for this category, it's not kind of like a free grant money. So the ICDB come in with equity participation. So the maximum fund awarded is 300,000. Then if you are the winner under this category, so when you go to the Transformer Summit, you will have a series of discussion with the ISDB. Basically, if let's say they grant you 300,000, then by how much percent of equity that you're willing to partake from your company. Okay, so that's under the startup category. So the third one is under the commercialization category. So basically, this is for companies that already started operation and that have already implemented and successfully scaled up an innovative project. And now you are looking to expand your venture. Okay, so you need the funding for that. And for this one, it's also the equity participation by ISDB, and they offer a fund up to 1 million US dollar. Okay, again, you will have a series of discussion with ISDB to discuss on how much percentage of equity that you are willing to give to ISDB. And the fourth one is on the capacity building, like I mentioned before. So this is to support government of member countries, okay, Muslim member countries, in developing their technical and functional science, technology, and innovation capacity to address major development challenges. So for this one is grant money. So and they are offering between 100,000 to 150,000 US dollar. So you can apply up to the maximum amount. So and from our experience, seems like once they have selected you as a winner, they will inshallah they will grant you the full requested amount of money. So unlike like FRGS or PRGS, sometimes when we are awarded with the grant, the KPT they kind of like slash a bit on our ask budget, right? So, but with this ISDB, usually they just grant the full amount of money that we ask in our proposal. So yeah, you can apply as much as you want, as long as it's within the cap, and you have to be able to justify the amount that you ask. Okay, so I'll be talking more specific in the STI challenges in capacity building. So in terms of capacity building, there are 4 areas that you can propose and where you can propose your project in. So for example, you are proposing a capacity building to produce critical mass in STI human resources. For example, you want to increase the number of capable researchers or STI policymakers. Or you can also propose a capacity building project to strengthen the institutional capacity for research and improving science education. Okay, or perhaps you want to propose, you want to kind of like develop an institute or education center. Okay, and the third one, you can also propose capacity building to enhance knowledge and expertise in spinning in, adapting and spinning out existing technologies and improving scientific cooperation. So this is what my proposal is proposing doing. So we are proposing a technopreneurship education framework. So basically we want to develop more technopreneurs from our engineering students, okay? And the fourth one, you can also propose capacity building project to formulate and implement adequate STI policies that support all of the 3 above. Okay, so you can choose which capacity building project that you want to address. Okay, so in the proposal, there are 7 important items that you have to articulate and highlight. So the first one is the innovativeness of your proposal. What makes it unique? What makes it like the solution to the problem that you are trying to solve? Okay. And you have to do some needs assessment. You have to identify what is the gap in the current capacity at the institution or in our country. And then what is our proposal value proposition? So basically, what are we proposing and what are we, basically what we are proposing such that our proposal is the answer to the identified gap here. Okay, the next one is we have to mention the potential impact and the outreach of our proposal. Then we have to detail out the implementation plan. So it must sound feasible, doable, and within the time constraints. So for my project, I asked for 3 years period, okay? And then you have to show that your project is sustainable beyond the grant period. So you have to include some commercialization aspect inside in here in your proposal. And the next one is you have to show that your project or your proposal is scalable. So perhaps in this during the grant period you are focusing on certain area only. Then beyond the grant period you can expand the project to cover more areas or to address more a bigger target group, for example. Okay, so the proposal format, so basically, I'm not so sure about the other category, but for category 4, there are 2 sections in the proposal. So the first section is basically the basic data and contact information where first, they request to get your personal details and whatnot. And then they have a section for executive summary. And then you have to upload your milestone and deliverable table. So the template is provided on the grant page. And also you have to provide the high level budget table. So the template is also provided on the grant page. Okay, section 2 is where it contains the technical information related to the proposal. So this grant form is very concise. So like, for example, the executive summary, the word limit is only 100 words. And under this technical information, for each section, the word limit is only 250 words. So you have to be really concise and really articulate on the points that you want to highlight in your proposal. So under the technical information, there are 6 items. So the first one is the identification of STI capacity building challenges, innovativeness of your proposal, impact and outreach, estimated cost and implementation plan, sustainability and scalability. Okay, so I'll go through one by one. Okay, so on the executive summary, they are looking for the challenges that you are addressing and what is the proposed innovative solution, and if successful, who will be the beneficiaries, and what is the expected medium and long-term impact of the project, and what is the value proposition of the proposed work. So this is basically the executive summary that I submitted for my proposal. So the problem, right. So this IIUM integrated design project framework is for SDG innovation is an education framework designed to nurture technopreneurial mindset in engineering students through pragmatic capstone project within regional industrial context. So this framework will be the funnel of innovative technopreneurs for IIUM startup ecosystem for successful spin-off potentials in 3 identified key industries: renewable energy, affordable healthcare, and smart agriculture. So the framework aims to build, so basically this is the purpose of my proposal. So it aims to build the right kind of innovation driver capacities that can be achieved through proper alignment of education structure, requires synergistic involvements and the identified industries, entrepreneurs, relevant policymakers, students, and well-trained faculty members. So this is basically my proposed activities that will be done in the project. Okay, and if successful, the beneficiaries will be, of course, the institution and also the engineering students. Okay. So this is within the word limit. Okay, so the word limit is only 100 words. Okay, so this is the milestone and deliverable table. So it's quite simple. So like for the deliverables, is basically what would be the outcome of your proposed project. So it can be in terms of, for example, hiring of field expert, or you will do a series of trainings or workshops that can be considered as deliverables as well, or any developed framework or development of lab, center, unit, or if you've done IP or copyright, training modules, contents, and etc. So you can specify as many deliverables that you want to deliver by the end of the project. And each of the deliverables, you can highlight what are the milestones that you will achieve. So it will be best if you can put the milestone according to the year. So for example, in year 1, what you will achieve in terms of the milestone in achieving the first deliverables, for example, and then the start date and completion date. So this is quite simple, the table. And they put it into 2 categories, which is the management, basically the project management, and also on the technical side. Okay, so okay, the next one is the budget table. It's also simple, and I think it's much simpler than the FRGS or PRGS budget table. Okay, so the way I do my budget table, I link it to the deliverables. So under for example, deliverables 1, what are the budget that I need in terms of the personnel, travel, materials, equipment, and whether it falls under the category of the management or under the category of technical components. Then I will put in, okay, how much that I will need in year 1, year 2, year 3, okay, then the total amount. So there is no like a cap. For example, you can only spend how much for personnel or how much that you can spend for travel. So basically there's no cap on that in this ISDB grant. And also you can, in these details, you can put the justification why you need the budget to allocate for this kind of budget item. Okay, so that is for section 1. Okay. And in section 2, for the technical information related to the proposal. So the first one, part A, which is you have to identify the STI capacity building challenges. So basically, this is where you do your needs assessment. Okay. So first, you have to state what is the current capacity. Let's say if you want to improve the institution capacity, for example, then what is our current capacity or capability or skill set that is good as a head start for the project. Okay, then when you have identified where we are currently standing, then we need to identify what are the gap in the current capacity in order for us to achieve the intended vision, to achieve the objective of our proposal. So what are the gaps? So those gaps are the one that need to be filled through the proposed project. Okay, in terms of the capacity, you have to put in terms of the category. So for example, the capacity in individual, for example, okay? For example, let's say you want to improve the capacity of the researchers. So what kind of skill set that you want to improve in terms of the capacity of the researchers, the mindset, the knowledge, the expertise, okay? And then you have to specify the capacity at institutional level. Okay, for example, in order to achieve the objective of your project, you need to improve the facilities, or you need to build a new facilities, for example. You need to revise the policy, for example, or you need to develop training modules, or you need to hire field experts. So those are the capacity at the institutional level. And the third one is the capacity, the environment itself. So it can be in terms of improving the ecosystem, the support system, the resources. So in this section A, you need to highlight all these items. So basically, these guidelines is also listed in the grant form, okay? And in this section as well, you need to highlight which SDG that you are addressing. So as I mentioned before, my project is addressing the quality education. Okay, section B is about the innovativeness of our proposal. So we need to write a well-articulated capacity building objectives, what we want to what we want to achieve from this project. And then in order to achieve the objectives, what are our proposed activities and how the activities can address the capacity gaps. So you have to justify all the proposed activities. So if you want to do this, why you want to do this, and how is this answering to the gaps that you have identified earlier. So that will make a really strong justification why you need this. And remember, in the budget table, you already kind of like link your budget according to your deliverables. So it makes your whole proposal really strong and well justified. Okay, and then you have to highlight what is the uniqueness of your innovative capacity building. Why your project is the capacity building intervention that is needed to address the challenges. Why is it so different between other capacity building projects out there? Why? So if you can kind of like highlight how you can localize certain project to address the local needs, that will be much stronger proposal, because they also look for proposal that addressing the local needs rather than just the global needs. Okay, and also how your proposed activities can boost the STI capacities in the Muslim countries or least developed Muslim countries related to the gaps. And I think UIA is like a very ideal place to do this capacity building, because we have a lot of international students coming from the least developed Muslim countries, for example, Bangladesh, yeah, like some from the African countries. So when we do this capacity building project in UIA, the people from these least developed Muslim countries can also benefit from this when they become IIUM students, and they also participate in this capacity building project. Okay, so that's the section B under the innovativeness. So the word limit is also 250 words. Okay, section C is on the impact and outreach. So you have to clearly specify what is your key outputs, what is your key outcomes, and what is the impacts on the STI ecosystem. So basically the key outputs is the immediate measurable results, which are achieved immediately after implementing an activity. For example, the training modules, the facilities developed, the frameworks, the group of experts hired. Okay, so those are the key outputs or the project deliverables. Okay, and the second one is the key outcome of the project. So key outcomes is the measurable midterm results seen after some time at the end of the project, where we can see some changes at the ground level. So for example, we will have more technical expertise in doing health monitoring, for example. So those are the key outcomes of the project. And the last one is we have to highlight the impacts on the STI, the science, technology, and innovation ecosystem. And these are measurable long-term results that may be achieved after a few years of project implementation. Perhaps you will see this impact 5 years after you have finished your grant, finished your projects, okay, and then state how you can measure the impact. Okay, and then you have to highlight the scale of target group. So how many target groups that you are targeting to impact in short term, perhaps during the grant period, in medium term, perhaps 2 to 3 years after the grant period, and also on the long term, sorry, the typo. Long term, perhaps in the next 5 to 10 years, how do you see that your capacity building project develop? And perhaps it can be replicated in other countries. So the grant panel, they want to see that. They want to see how you see the growth of your project. Okay, you have to highlight the scalability of your proposed capacity building intervention. Okay, and lastly, as a conclusion, you have to state again what is the capacity improvement that you can provide through this project. Okay, and the next section, the item D, is basically on the estimated cost and implementation plan. So basically it's a reiteration of what you have put in your budget table. Okay, so you can start off with writing what is the amount that you request from ISDB and what is it mainly for. So for my project, I asked for a certain amount of money and it's mainly to develop the framework, the education framework. And then they don't want ISDB to be the sole project funding. Okay, so they want to see also the other contribution from other donors. So for example, how much IIUM is also contributing. So you can also, yeah, for example, people from the Kuliah of Medicine, you can also highlight what UAE spending in terms of the hospitals where you can use the facilities in order to carry out your project. So that can also be the contribution from IIUM or the KKM or the KPT or any industries or agencies that you will work together in implementing your project. Okay, and then you can list down all the expected deliverables and the activities proposed to achieve the deliverables and what are the costs incurred for each activities. Okay, for each activities to deliver each deliverables. Okay, and also it will be a good point if you can highlight how various stakeholders are involved during the implementation and what are their role. So this is good such that you will show that your project is not an in silo project. So it shows that you have a good connection with other stakeholders, how they are also involved in your project. Okay, and also, okay, as I mentioned, this is the ISDB support under this category will not cover the total cost of the proposed capacity building intervention as it is considered a contribution to the total cost. So as I said, that you have to highlight as well what are other contributions from other agencies or other or from UAE in order to achieve our big vision from this project. Okay, that's on the estimated cost and implementation plan. Okay, the fifth item is on the sustainability. So this is where you have to have a bit of the commercialization aspect. Okay, so what is your strategy to ensure the continuation of the project beyond grant period? So let's say for the next 3 years, you have this grant money. What will happen after the next, after that 3 years? How are you going to sustain the project? So they want to see that. So as I mentioned, they don't want to see this proposal as a one-off project. Okay, how do you embed the strategy, okay, your sustainability strategy into the proposed activities and capacity building intervention? So you have to highlight how you are going to do that through your proposed activities. Okay, highlight your strategies such that the intended long-term impact can successfully be achieved. And it will be strong if you have commercialization strategy embedded in place. And so the proposal should not be treated as a one-off effort. Okay, so the final section is on the scalability. Okay, What's your plan to grow the proposed project, to widen the scope or widen the targeted impact group, replicate the project in other region or MCs, the Muslim countries or least developed Muslim countries? How is your growth plan embedded in the proposed activities or capacity building project design? And you have to show that the proposed project is scalable. Okay, so basically those are all the items required in the proposal. All right. Okay, so that's all for me. Sorry if I took such a long time to finish the slide sharing. Okay, back to you, Prof. Anis. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nabila. Yeah, very detailed explanation, very informative as well. So now I would like to invite anyone who would like to have any questions. We are opening the floor for any question and answer. So you can either put it in the chat box or you can unmute your mic and we can address any three of the speakers. Okay, any questions, anyone? No questions?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much. Actually, I applied previously and I did not get the grant, but my question is, they keep asking about company profile. So it's not really like application from university, from academician, but more they keep saying company profile and also matching between partner and so on. So how to achieve this this goal? Thank you.
Okay, perhaps I can answer for that. So I will share this this screen. Okay, so this is the Engage website. So I think once you have logged in, okay. I think the one that you mentioned is this, isn't it? The company profile here. So you don't have to worry. Yeah, you don't have to worry. It will not affect your proposal. Even for me, up to now, I haven't completed my company profile. So yeah, you just finished filling up your proposal form, which is under this the call for innovation. Yeah, so like I mentioned, I mean, if you are applying for capacity building, so you can just click here, call for capacity building in science, technology, and innovation. So this is the proposal form. Yeah, so here they will not ask you about the company profile. So they just ask you about your basic information, okay, about your institution. So this is the section 1, the one that I described previously. So this is the section for the executive summary. Okay, and you have to highlight which SDG that you are addressing. Okay, the amount that you are applying. Okay, so here you can download your milestone and deliverable table, and here you can download your high level budget table. Okay, and then you can go to the next step where you have the section where you have to fill up all the 6 sections that I mentioned before. Section A, B, C, D, E, and F, and then you are done. Accept the terms and condition, then submit.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nabila. May I also add a few more points with regards to this application?
Yes, go ahead, Prof.
All right. So, Dr. Akram, may I know in which category did you apply for?
Actually, I apply a few times. Every time I choose different category. So I applied for because last year and year before that. So I chose different category, but all did not succeed.
All right. I think maybe RMC can, with the assistance of RMC, what you can do, by now we have 3 recipients from IIUM. So whoever is applying or already applied, we can go through the proposal, then we can give some suggestions which can help you to improve the proposal. This could be one thing. And on top of that, let us remember that ISDB is a bank actually. So whenever they provide any grant, they have always, in their mind, they have always the factor of profit making. So they want to justify to the bank how this grant will make some profit, either in terms of monetary or some other benefits, okay, tangible and non-tangible benefits. So we have to justify those things to the bank somehow. And regarding the issue of company profile, again, as I told you, they are looking for investing money like the traditional banking. So they have this standard format. This is only 2 years. So I believe their format also not so much, organized yet. And from our side, especially from the university, we have a mindset of research mind, mentality that we were looking for certain format, but bank has different setup in their mind. So we have to, balance in between these two. Regarding the company profile, what I did, I sent them information about the research group that I'm involved, which is BERC, in by environmental engineering group. Okay, so that will be enough for them. They want to have some document. Okay, so it's not necessary that it should be a proper company, registered company, not necessary. We have to justify that we are a research group or a center or institute under this big organization. So if you provide those information, basic information, they will be happy with that. So being one of the first recipient of this grant, we face a lot of problems because they have unconventional elements in their application, which we don't face during FRGS or PRGS or other grants. But through communication, we can settle those things. So my suggestion, whatever you can provide, just attach additional information. Of course, they have a prescribed form, but there's no harm if you submit additional information to show your strength related to the project. I think that is a good strategy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Mamun. There was another question from Dr. Rosmi. It's about once you submitted the application, is there any other stage of filtering? For example, interview or presentation of projects by shortlisted applicants. So Dr. Nabila already answered. He said that there will be a second stage where they will ask further details. So I think it means that they will ask, they will not be not a face-to-face. I mean, they will only ask details by email, right? And then you can just reply by email providing the details. Is that correct? For those who already applied, ISDB asked the question, more information via email.
Yes, that's right. They will basically you just like have to resubmit the same proposal with some additional information, but there will be no interview or presentation required. So yeah, if they kind of like send you that you have passed to the next stage, I mean, inshallah, you are almost there. You're almost the winner and you're almost securing your visit to Kazakhstan this year, inshallah.
Okay, so the next statement by Prof. Aniki is about that IIUM is registered under Company Act. So if we put this information, is that okay for that company section? Like I think what do they need for the company information? They just the name and do they need the statement or etc.?
That one is under the KYC, the Know Your Customer section. I think they just need like the company's name, the registered number, and then there are some form that they will send you where you have to fill up the information. But in this general application, they do not provide the form yet. But once once they mention that you are the winner, then they will send out the additional form that you have to fill up. Okay. So during that time, I mean, if there is a certain information that you are uncertain of, perhaps you can reach out to RMC, and I believe that RMC can help on that.
Yeah, if you require any information regarding IIUM, the registration, etc., RMC can provide that information. Okay, another question from Dr. Irina. It states here, Dr. Nabila, is it possible to nominate other experts from other institutions in our capacity building project?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's up to you. I mean, how you want to spend the budget. You don't have to be that specific. I mean, in my proposal, I did not even specify who the experts that I want to engage. I just say that I want to engage an experts in this area and that area. And this is the money that I requested for the budget and why I need those experts. So, I mean, yeah, it can be from other institution, it can be from other country. There's no restriction on that.
And they not necessarily need to be Muslim, right? There is also another question on that. So it doesn't
Yeah,
matter, right?
it doesn't matter. Even last year, there are also non-Muslim who got the grant, and it's from the US.
Okay.
So even they grant the I mean they award the grant to the non-Muslim countries.
Okay. So the next question is on the budget. The budget for postgrad students, is that allowed?
Yes. Basically, on the budget, there's not much limitation. I mean, you can just put whatever you want as long as it will not involve money laundering, as long as it will not involve that. Yeah, I mean, as long as it's for the project, even if let's say you want to buy computer or you want to buy whatever, you want to set up a lab, just put it in the budget. There's no restriction.
Okay, that's very good to know. It's less restrictive. Okay, one more question from Prof. Aduni. What if it's humanitarian services? Do we need to be NGO? Maybe Prof. Aduni can explain a bit more if you're, you can. Humanitarian services, do you mean, if you can give an example, then I think the speakers can answer better.
Okay, it's Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. It's Rashida actually.
Oh, okay. Your name is Aduni. I didn't know who it was. Okay, Dr. Rashida, go ahead.
Okay. All right. It's like we are having a kind of like maybe like humanitarian services. For example, you are trying to reach out people maybe with some aid. And then in most cases, I feel aids, they need to be like NGO. You have to be under certain NGO. Can we still be under IIUM and still require for this? Because this also need a kind of a capacity building later in the future. Maybe instead of you engage those people to start maybe producing, inshallah.
Okay, so in terms of this grant proposal, you don't have to be the NGO as long as you in section A, if you can highlight what you have been doing so far and what is still lacking. So you want to move forward as an IIUM. So these are the things that you want to do and you want to achieve that through this grant. So it's okay, you don't have to be the NGOs, but it will be best if you can highlight the previous work that you have done so far, and if you have engaged with any NGOs, you can highlight that, just to show that you already started something and you are heading somewhere. And in order to heading somewhere, this is the money that I need to help me to move forward. I hope that answers.
Thank you, Dr. Nabila. Any other questions? No more questions. So I just, if everyone has registered, I think I put the link in the chat box. So for registration, then we can email you the slides from all the speakers. So I just give a few minutes if anybody else wants to ask any questions.
If I can ask again, Prof,
Yes,
among the four categories, which one do you think easy to get Is it call for new ideas and proof of concept, or call for commercialization, or innovation, or capacity building? Any idea, or
I think more from my side, the capacity building is the easiest one because you don't have to have anything previously. So you can come up with good ideas, identify the issue that you want to solve or improve. That will be easiest. For others, you must have some previous findings. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what, like, I mean, for the three categories, I mean, the proof of concept, at that stage, you not need to have like a company yet. So you can look at the proof of concept category like a PRGS-ish, where you have a POC, you want to implement it in the real settings. Okay, so that's mainly for category 1. So for category 2, I would say that because it's kind of like intended for startups where you already have like a registered a company and you have like have some traction with your POC. So you can kind of like look at it like the My Lab-ish, or yeah. And also for the third category, I think you can imagine it if you are applying for example, for commercialization grant in Malaysia, where you can apply from, for example, I can't recall the body that provide the commercialization grant. Can you help for this? Cradle, yes. Yeah, for example, like Cradle or MDAC. Yeah, so that kind of yeah, when you already have like a business started and you want to scale up your business. So for example, in 2019, there is one company in Tanzania. So this company, they develop, they already own a factory and they produce organic plastic bag. So currently they only supply to their local people and they want to expand it to serve other African countries. So they go for the third category, the commercialization category, because they want to expand their operation into other countries. So their plastic bags is made from cassava. So yeah. So if you've watched like a Lion's Den or the Shark Tank, so you would see yourself will be in that kind of situation once you go to the Transformer Summit. Yeah, so yeah, they will do some kind of negotiation in terms of the equity. So it will be more on the commercialization stage.
Okay, there are other questions here. As an IUM lecturer, but a foreigner, can I conduct it in another country, such as a home country? I think this is from Dr. Harun. Yeah, I don't know about the, yeah, the speakers can give their opinion, whether it might be okay to apply as an IUM lecturer, but conducting it in a different country, not in Malaysia.
Prof. Abdullah, do you have answer for that?
I think the issue is how the money will be handled. That is one of the big issues with the bank. So I also don't have any certain answer for that, but there is no harm trying. Try first, then I think there could be some arrangement made. The main concern is how the money will be spent, actually. They're concerned about the legal use of the money. This is my understanding. I'm not sure about the actual, thing accepted by the bank. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think if you are applying for that, perhaps you can kind of like justify why you want to do it in your home country. Do you have like the connections and you have the access to do what you plan to do? Because currently you are in Malaysia, right? So how do you plan to kind of like monitor the project? How you plan to show that you are able to do that? And yeah, I think you kind of like you have to justify it in your proposal. Yeah, I think there's no, again, I mean, this ISDB grant, there's not much restriction that they put on that, except that this year the focus is COVID-19. That's all. Yeah, but in terms of how you want to utilize the grant money, you want to spend the budget. I mean, yeah, there's not much restriction on that.
Can I add something, Prof?
Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Shirwan.
Dr. Nabila, just as far as if I remember, in our batch of receiving this ISDB grant, there is one lecturer from UK, I think. He got a grant from his institution, but he applied the project in Pakistan, as far as I know. So he received that kind of, he became one of the winners. So I think there's no problem if you want to apply the project at any place, as long as you the one who received the grant, and it's up to you where do you want to do the research or do the project.
Okay. Yeah, but the transfer of money, I think, will be there must be some discussion, I think, to avoid them thinking that it's money laundering, right? Okay, so another question here for the contributing agency, is it possible, this is from Dr. Irina, is it possible for the contribution to be to such place, not to be in monetary form? Maybe for capacity, this is for the capacity building. Is it possible if when we put in IIUM as the contributing agency, do we have to put in like the monetary amount, or can it be in kind, etc.?
It can be in kind, yeah, but yeah, I think on the second stage they will ask. I mean, you have to kind of like spell out the in kind. I mean, the equivalency in terms of US dollar, how much. I mean, yeah. I mean, you can just put it. Let's say in terms of the rental, then how much it is worth. Yeah. So yeah, no problem.
Okay. So this year the grants are all focused on COVID. So COVID-19. So it will be focused on SDG 3, meaning I think it's health, right, and well-being. Is this the only one goal of SDG, or do we need to address all the 6 SDG goals when applying?
I think not necessary that all SDGs has to be covered. Any of the SDGs should be sufficient enough. And it depends on our innovativeness, how we are trying to link the project with particular SDG. Any of them should be okay.
Yeah, agree with Prof. Abdullah. So if you look at the grant form, so you have to highlight the main SDG that you're addressing. And because SDG in some way is all interconnected between all the SDGs. So, I mean, it might related to health and well-being, but also it's also related in terms of the education, for example, because you are trying to produce more capable researchers. So that falls under the quality education. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, you just need to highlight the main SDG that you are addressing, and then what are the other SDG that also can be impacted with the project. And I think in terms of this COVID-19, it is not necessarily that you can just focus on the well-being. You can also look at the impact of this COVID-19 on the livelihood of the people in the Muslim countries and the least developed Muslim countries. So for example, a lot of supply chain have been impacted. And yeah, I mean, because a lot of least developed Muslim countries, they don't have certain enablers that in order to help them to survive in the post-COVID-19. So basically, you can also propose a project where you can help these least developed Muslim countries, or perhaps you identify that some challenges that Malaysia is facing post-COVID-19. So then you can also propose a project in order to help Malaysia overcome this post-COVID-19 time. So I think it's not necessarily just being focused in the medical area only. There are a lot of other areas They're also being impacted by the COVID-19.
Okay, I think one more question here from Dr. Salahuddin. Is there any template or example from this IDSDB grant that will be shared later? So I think for Dr. Nabila side, I think she went through one by one already each block. But I don't know, maybe Prof. Mamun or Dr. Shirwan would be willing to share any template of proposals, then we will share them to you.
Yeah, sure. I shall share my proposal. In fact, I also already shared my proposal with Dr. Nabila when she already selected our project. So it will be our pleasure to share our experiences. And as Dr. Nabila mentioned, although this year focus is on COVID, but actually the scope is very wide. This COVID is affecting all sectors of life. So let us not, get backward, think positive, and come up with innovative ideas. Inshallah, we can submit many proposals.
Thank you, Prof. So I think everyone who has registered, we will later send you the slides and then the proposal, the template. Okay, any more questions? Yes, Dr. Shamsul, you wanted to say something?
Mute. Okay.
I thought you wanted to ask question, Dr. Shamsul?
Okay. So just a question, apa ni? How the apa ni? Currently it's under COVID. So if we have a project on the post-COVID, how is it covered? Is it covered or something like that?
Try to make it sound that it's covered and it's really important for post-COVID. It's in your creativity how you craft your proposal.
Yeah, true. You know, post-COVID can be after 10 years, post-COVID can be after 1 month. So make it immediate. So they're still linked, okay? And I believe Dr. Shamsul is very innovative. You can do it.
Okay, if that is the case, then we arrange based on the post-COVID. Because I think in most cases, I can't see it exactly matched at the moment lah, for at least for my project. So let's see how to do it in the post-COVID sense, like in that say, in a way.
Okay. Any more questions for anybody else?
I think Prof. Anis,
yes.
although our session will be ending soon, but I think there is no harm. Any colleague can communicate us to work together, inshallah. Okay, so we are open to all the applicants.
Yeah, so you can email and the speakers, and I think from Mamu's suggestion earlier, if you have the proposal and you want any of the speakers to comment, the RMC can help you guys, to get comments. If you want any comments from the 3 speakers who have already received their grants, so that you can write a good and high quality proposal. Okay, so I think that is all. Thank you so much for joining. We wish you everyone. Yes.
Prof. Anis, I not interrupt, Jab. I would like to thank Prof. Anis for chairing the session. And I would really like to thank all our speakers for sharing. This is valuable experience that we can gain from their success in getting the grant. And in a sense, we are getting the inside story, as it were. I mean, how do you go about it? Because this grant is a very new grant. And this grant has evolved from the first time it was introduced, where there were 100,000 applications, the first year. And it is a grant that everyone wants to pin down. So what we're doing now, listening to all our learned speakers is, you know, to break the wall in a sense, and to be able to understand the grant, because before we attempt the grant, we need to go into the minds of the grant funders. And I believe our speakers have done that very well. Thank you so much for the clarity in your presentation, and also the very detailed aspects that you have shared. And I think with those details, and with your experience as to how you tackled it, I think this has helped a lot of people, and we really would like to thank you. And our only way, we'd like to thank you, and we'd like to we pray that Allah rewards your efforts with barakah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Over to you, Prof. Anis. Sorry to interrupt, Tadi.
It's okay. Thank you so much, Prof. Ratna, for attending, for also joining us and supporting us in this session. So I wish all the best to everyone, and thank you so much for all the speakers, for all your help and for all the guidance. So we now end the session, and if you want to look again at the talk, it's on the YouTube, and I have already shared the link. Okay, so Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you.